So in this segment, we're going to be talking about what pro-Brexit DUP members telling this journalist here, Sam McBride, that we didn't think it through talking about Brexit. I certainly didn't think it through. Another member said to me, it was just absurd. There was no real consideration, no debate. Foster thought she'd have something to prove. This is about DUP members regretting their Brexit vote. This is from Sam McBride saying, we all make mistakes, blah, blah, blah. It takes courage to admit errors, blah, blah, blah. He spoke to more than two people. The article's behind a paywall, so it's really difficult to actually read the physical article. But given the fact that if we kind of look at the situation with Northern Ireland, the DUP have put Northern Ireland in a really bad spot for them, in terms of the unionist perspective, which I don't really care for that much. Sam McBride going on to say, you obviously don't know much about the DUP if you think people who speak to journalists without authorization survive. I don't make up quotes. Even the DUP don't claim that, which is why they expend great energy trying and failing to identify who talks to me. So it's obviously everyone talking anonymously here. But I did find this article is quite old, from 2 years ago, but this is kind of the point where, from 2019, the DUP party is reading from accusations that it was duped and betrayed by Downing Street over a Brexit deal that weakens Northern Ireland's position in the UK. So this was, even the UUP figured out that the DUP have put themselves in a very bad position, or at least put unionists in a bad position. And they were intelligent to figure that out 2 years ago when the DUP didn't. And, a lot of things have changed since then. You've got people like Brexit hardman Steve Baker, who talked about, essentially getting rid of the protocol until he got a government position where his rhetoric, he still says the protocol needs to go, etc. But his rhetoric has changed a lot. He's saying we owe Ireland an apology. We owe the EU an apology. This is Brexit hardman Steve Baker. This is, one of the stalwarts of the ERG, if he's still a member of them. He's changed his tone. He's even gone so far as say this statement here, which is just bizarre.
The honourable gentleman for South Antrim mentioned Linda Irvine. I hope she won't mind me saying that I was really moved by the efforts they're making to teach unionists Irish. Unionists who recognise that you don't have to go back too many generations to find that their ancestors too were speaking Irish, and he acknowledges it from.
It'd be Gaelic, because I think some of the settlers in Scotland were from Ireland and they spoke Gaelic, which makes sense. And so he's saying that and those same kind of Scottish people, or at least some of those Scottish tribes, went back, I think, to Ireland where they spoke Gaelic. So he's talking about that, where if you go back a few generations, there are people who were Irish settlers or colonialists, however you want to describe it. Probably colonialists would be a more accurate term here, that went back to Ireland and spoke Gaelic. So very interesting.
And thank you, and I'm grateful. This means so much, because this conversation, look at it, the conversation we've had in the House, so much hurt, layered upon layers of hurt over decades. And people have been insulted on both sides. I've listened to Ulster Scots saying they've been demeaned. I've listened to
Ulster Scots, that's what we're kind of talking about.
Irish speakers saying their language had been demeaned. This just can't go on, and we are the authors of our future. The points that have been made about the weaponisation of language don't need repeating by me. I would just say, someone said to me yesterday, we are building bridges, politicians are burning them behind us. Well, that should be a challenge to us all.
And he's kind of referencing, I think, the Irish Language Act, where they wanted to get, I think, unionist schools to teach Gaelic, which the DUP were very much against. But it was one of the promises that they used to kind of get Stormont reopened a few years ago. This one, the government back then kind of pushed them. I think it was Julian Smith or Julian Green, I can't remember his name. He managed to convince the DUP, the Sinn Féin, to go back into Stormont. And then you've got this current mess after the last Stormont elections, where the DUP have rage quit. But you've got a massive tone shift from Brexit hardman Steve Baker, being a much more conciliatory tone, talking about people teaching unionists Irish, when unionists obviously wouldn't want to speak Irish. They would want to speak English, because they want to be part of the union, which speaks English. So it's a massive kind of tone change from a guy who really pushed for the end of the Northern Ireland Protocol. I mean, he was one of the major players in that kind of ambition, and he has changed dramatically. This is Brexit hardman Steve Baker we are talking about. It's not some ordinary joke off the back bench here. This was I think the former chairman of the ERG. He's come round. That's weird. It's weird. It just doesn't make sense. this guy, saying we owe Ireland and the EU an apology for the way we've acted. It's just what has happened to this guy. People saying that he might be trying to rehabilitate himself because he fears what's happening to the Tory party, might lose his seat, etc. But I don't think his constituents really care about his, him saying Ireland is owed an apology or the EU's owed an apology. They don't vote for him because he's a Brexit hard man. At least I don't think so. But it's just weird, isn't it? I don't do too many speculation videos or these sorts of videos, but it's just weird, isn't it? But anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. If you think it's weird, let me know, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.